Hey guys, this is Retail Rudy here. Putting out a first video, maybe a last too. I don't know. I'm not one to do a bunch of videos. I don't have a lot of time for it, and I think there's guys already doing a great job producing content. But I did just want to share some thoughts with you guys. I know there's a lot of drama going around the community right now. A lot of people concerned about the future of this stock. So I just want to give my perspective, and I just want to first start off and say I'm long and I'm holding on this one. So just a quick background, I got into this stock doing some volume trades and all the way on the run up to 12, and then even when it was coming back down. But then I learned more about the company at that time, and I'm like, wow, what a great company, and what potential there is with Lomotif and Cryptyde and the spinoff and AdRiser and so on and so forth. So when it got into the $5 range, that's when I started taking a position. And I got into some pretty heavy positions. And, you know, now I would say I'm carrying a bag. But not necessarily. I think that there's potential for this thing to turn around and for us to see a reversal here soon. But what I wanted to get into is some of the stuff everyone's talking about. There's a little bit of a division going on in the community on Twitter. Other communities have different sentiments as well. But I want to share with you guys some things that I found when I was just recently researching. So let's pop this baby up. I'll try not to get onto tangents. Let's see here. Okay. So a lot of you guys are familiar with the Wayback Machine. You can go see websites and what they look like at different times, different snapshots in time. Okay, so we all know Vinco. It's out there in New York, but it's also got offices in Pennsylvania, and now we got some folks in Nevada. But I'm going to just take you through from 2017 on this site, particularly about management, because people have been trying to tie things together. I remember in a space call, Tasha brought some things up that were really relevant, and I was sending some stuff about management in that call, but I want to get into a little more detail on that. So back in 2017, our chairman and CEO was Christopher Ferguson. Okay. Then we had a CFO, Brett Vorman, and this CSO, Chief Strategy Officer, Brian McFadden. Okay. This is when we started to see changes. October 25th, 2021. Okay. So, but this was what the page looked like on the 19th of September, 2021. And this is when Ferguson announced that he had resigned, but he wasn't completely out. At that time, he had agreed to a 3-year deal to serve as a senior strategic advisor with Vinco. And they announced at the same time that Lisa King would serve as their new CEO and president. A lot of you guys know this stuff. I'm kind of preaching to the choir, but I want to just kind of bring this all together and detail some things out. There's some new investors in the community. There's a lot of folks who maybe haven't gotten into the details. A lot of us work full-time jobs in addition to investing. So, but back then at that time, when Lisa King was serving as the CEO, they also announced Stephen Garrow as Chief Operating Officer and Philip Jones was the new CFOs. Okay, so let's just get that out of the way to start. And remember back the slide deck. We're so excited about all this great slide deck, the presentation for the annual report, but it had this big asterisk here. If you'll notice, it said incoming team, but with the big asterisk. And they said back then that Rod would be a chairman, Elliot Goldstein board member, McFillan, remember that, keep your eye on that little arrow there, Michael DeStasio, and Lisa King. Okay, but with Lisa coming in as CEO, and if you look at Steve Garrow's LinkedIn profile, or even the Crunchbase and different profiles, he has nothing anymore about Zash or Vinco, which is kind of interesting, because a lot of people may leave the company, but they leave some of that information on there. So this was around September 2021. Okay, now I've got snapshots. So this is a snapshot of November 27th, 2021, showing Lisa King here in pink, Brett Roman now, CFO. Let's go back here, right? So Brent was the CFO in July of 2017. And on what they put on the website, whoever's in charge, this is what they put. Now, the website's not always fact, but it's a really good indicator. And Steve Garrow was chief operating officer. And I'm color coding these on purpose so you can kind of see a trend here. Then May 27, 2022, Lisa's still CEO. Philip Jones is now the chief financial officer. And Stephen Garrow is still here. And then, as we all know, July 21st is when Colucci came in, right? This is the big press release. July 22nd is when it came out. But this on July 21st is when the website got updated. And he was appointed as interim co-chief executive officer of the company. And ratified the appointment was Ted, Theodore Farnsworth, as co-chief executive officer to serve together with Mr. Colucci in lieu of Lisa King. Okay, I've always thought that was interesting that it was worded that way. Okay. Now, a lot of people have a lot of opinions about what happened here. And I do too. But I'm going to get to that. But I just want you to make a point that she was coming in after somebody had stepped down. Okay. This is who they felt confident in putting in as the CEO back then. And these are some of the names of the folks who started trickling along. But then Lisa was replaced here, right? So John and Ted come in with Mr. Colucci, John Colucci, in lieu of Lisa King. So I've always had a question about that. I don't know the answer, but I'm just telling you, I've had a question about that. Okay, and then we get, look, now think about the time frames here. This was July 22nd. Just a couple days later, Vinco Ventures thwarts what it believes was a hostile takeover attempt by Farnsworth Group. Okay, now I've underlined some key points here. I'm going to jog your memories here, but they terminated Ted, the former CEO of Helios, Matheson, and MoviePass, right? They terminated Ted after he was appointed. Lisa King as president of ZVV Media Partners and former CEO. Eric Noble as company's chief security officer. Okay, this is the press release. They kind of made all these bullets of what happened. They gave us all the details, right? So they terminated Ted, and less than 72 hours after he was appointed. And then that was July 25th. Well, I got to come back. I got to go in order here. But they put it in this order, so I'll just keep with it. Ms. King authorized the filing of a current report on Form 8K that stated Mr. Farnsworth had been appointed as co-CEO, despite being advised the information contained in the Form 8K was incorrect. Okay, but this attempted Securities and Exchange Commission filing was blocked by certain members of Farnsworth Group, even though Mr. Farnsworth was not legally appointed. So that's interesting that even within the Farnsworth Group, there was some debate there. Because it says it was blocked by certain members of Farnsworth Group. Sometimes we throw out everyone of Farnsworth Group, but some of Farnsworth Group was trying to block this. That's a key detail. Now, I personally think most Farnsworth Group, it doesn't look legit, but let's keep moving here. July 17th, the board independent committees recommend to terminate Ms. King as the company's CEO and as a Vinco manager of ZVV Media Partners and appointed John Colucci. July 21st, rescinded Ms. King's termination. Really interesting there. So there's debate within Farnsworth Group, then the board's saying, get rid of Ms. King, then they figure something out, they're let's put her back in, and then they appointed Mr. Colucci as interim co-CEO with operational and financial responsibilities, and Farnsworth as co-CEO. And I remember when this came out, I was like, what the heck? One CEO is tough enough, but to have two? And potentially almost looks like, three in this case. Get out Lisa, bring in Colucci and Farnsworth. Really, really odd, right? July 22nd, without informing anyone at the company or the board, the company believes that certain members of Farmers Group authorized the filing of a current report on Form 8K signed by Ted. That once again materially misrepresented the facts and chain of events. Okay, and then on the 24th, the board, among other things, terminated each member of the Farnsworth Group, removed Rod Vanderbilt, ratifying and confirmed the board's July 17 appointment of John Colucci as interim CEO. And the company's SEC codes and filings were blocked by Farnsworth Group. Okay, and then July 22nd, the company was potentially, due to the action or inaction of certain members of the Farnsworth Group, required to make that was the whole payment deal, right? The $33 million payment to make it on time. If they didn't make it on time, it could cause problems. Then this last piece, John Colucci, taking some credit, agrees to step in as interim CEO to stabilize the company. Okay, so what are the facts? I don't know, but this is what came out, right? This was the information we were all brought with. It was just complete drama and out of control. And people started pointing fingers within the company, but also outside, us as investors. We had no choice. Then Ted comes out with a video trying to clear things up. When I saw this video, I wasn't really impressed, honestly. These are some of my tweets. I said July, Ted's tweet he pulled didn't say no takeover, just that it wasn't hostile. When people get in the heat of the moment, they often spew truth without realizing it. So I was like saying, hey, Ted's kind of like saying things that might be true and didn't even mean that he didn't even realize he was doing it, And then I was kind of upset too. Ever hear of a unified front? How about leadership? The demeanor and rhetoric of Ted Farnsworth in this video is embarrassing to executive management. He comes across extremely aloof and overly critical of a director that they hired. He's actually making Vinco look stupid. So I thought this video was not of production value, but I also thought the way that he portrayed himself kind of lacked some leadership, and I was losing a little bit of confidence. And then the last thing I said this, because Finnman came in. I'm like, Finnman's getting his feet wet. He doesn't know Vinco stuff, nor should he. If he does, he can't say. And he says the merger's on his task list, which means it wasn't on Ted's list, which was kind of interesting because they've been talking about merger for a while. And Zash's Ted is co-CEO of BBIG and over Erik. I knew that, but it seemed like at that point we knew more. I thought it was an interesting choice to bring in Erik Finnman, being so young, but I thought it was a wise choice because he could bring in some PR and he knows the crypto world, NFT world, and the whole stuff with Cryptyde. He seemed, digitally connected with social media. He seemed like a sharp guy, but he also came across lacking experience and a little bit of polish. Never tried to be critical of him. I tried to support him. Tried to support Ted too, but holy crap. Okay, so now look at the whole trend here. Here's November 27th. Lisa. August 1st. Lisa. So this is the website changes according to the screenshot company I was telling you about. Then you see the Colucci deal here. So Lisa King, Ted, and Philip Jones and Garo are all on here. Ted's showing as co-executive, co-CEO. Lisa's here as co-CEO. Philip and Steve are chief financial officer and Garo's chief operating officer. So that was a mess at that time. August 14th, we finally see Colucci on here. And then Philip Jones is still here. Steve Garo's still here. Lisa's gone. Then Lisa's back on September 27th. Colucci stays. Now this is the whole time when now the court appoints Miller, right? But I just wanted you to look at the website and the changes to the website as potential clues for who might have been in control here. So we got the Philip, right? Steve. Remember now, Steve has removed everything about Zash from his profile on LinkedIn, which is kind of interesting. If we go back here, remember? Steve, he's only on like a Crunchbase thing, but his LinkedIn doesn't show anything about Zash or Vinco. It's kind of interesting. And then John was short-lived. Everyone attacked him like crazy. And it seemed justified, in my opinion, at the time. To this day, the facts that came out of court seemed obvious to me that he didn't have his ducks in a row. He wasn't even showing up in court. His attorneys were dropping him like a rock. And so I think that was a wise decision that he got left. So the settlement happens. And remember, so now we've got Ross Miller, but they bring on Gabe as a president too. Gabe Hunterdon, right? Lisa and Rod stay on the board. They're joined with Brian Hart and Jesse Law. Okay, the two new guys, independent directors, right? We accept the resignation of Colucci, D'Stasio, and Goldstein. They're out. As part of the settlement, Colucci and Jones resigned from their positions as well. Okay, Colucci, right, and Jones, right? They resigned from their positions. Okay, so that's management. And then Ross puts this out. This is like Ross's first PR. Okay, just I'm not implying anything. I just want to make it clear what happened here. So here's the final timeline here. Lisa gone around the August time frame. Lisa gone. Then we got Steve. Philip. And then of course we know now Ross, and then Gabe and Brendan. Okay. This is our current team. Ross, Gabe, Brendan. Interim CFO. It's a keynote here, right? This is what's on the website today, right now. These are our board members. Rod, Lisa, Brian, Jesse, Richard. Okay. Vinco, she shows she's been a CEO for 1 year. Board member, 1 year, 3 months. Okay, so small time frame, right? She's been with Magnify U since 2020 and Zash 2021. That's what it shows on our LinkedIn profile. And LinkedIn's not the end all. I know it's not evidence or facts, but it's an indicator. That's what I'm trying to indicate here. There's indicators. And I'd like you to please take note of the addresses and phone numbers and emails of people, okay? But they show here this is in Pennsylvania, okay? So now we got the timeline here. These are just this is tying in some of the events with the stock price, okay? So when Ferguson resigned right here and Lisa was appointed, we were coming down off this pump. And this is the pump. We go up to 12 here. We come down to this range around the 350 range. And then it pumps again here up into the 6s. I know this is where a lot of people settled in to Vinco. They're like, oh, this is a sweet deal. We're coming off the pump. There's a nice bounce. This is a good area. And then right here, a ton of other investors came in as well because folks expected, myself included, this is where I was averaging down a little bit. I expected this to bounce off this next solid daily candle. But it didn't. And I think a lot of it had to do with Ferguson resigning right here. Okay, we never got the support back right here. It bopped down. Then we get our earnings, and we gap down on earnings. We get another pump here. I don't really understand why this one pumped, but right here, this is the 42 million raise, but it wasn't the one. A lot of people thought there was dilution here, and people sold off on dilution, but there wasn't dilution. This was just a raise without dilution for the Cryptyde deal. And then it was already baked into the books is what I'm trying to say. Then right here, we've got the AdRiser acquisition, which didn't really help us. If you're just looking at news, right? Drop, we start gaining support here, comes back up. Earnings, again, this is fourth quarter earnings. So third quarter earnings, fourth quarter earnings. Then we got the Cryptyde date announced, which was exciting, got a little gap up here. But then, as we all know, they delay Cryptyde again here, and we go down. They delay Cryptyde again here, we go down. So look at these. These Cryptyde delays really didn't help things at all. This was the inclusion of the Russell 2000 too. There was an opportunity here, but we delay Cryptyde instead, right? And then here's some notes here. This is when Ted and Lisa are out right here. This is the TED video right here. They also postponed the shareholders meeting right here at the same time. And because there was such a mess, they're trying to figure out who's running what. Then this is when Finnman comes on. Okay, Finnman comes on, stock price continues to go down, but I think Finnman might have been part of a catalyst to get this next pump. We get it up here, we come back down, we get a deficiency notice, And now this is when everything's settled in court, and Ross and Gabe are now in. Okay, this just happens as a side note. This is when Ross started putting out those sort of cryptic tweets, and this is another failure deficiency notice here from NASDAQ, and then the space call from Finnman, which I thought was absolutely ridiculous when he made that space call without any facts and chucked our executive management under the bus. I was really upset about that. I didn't think he had I didn't think he had a place to speak for Vinco. I saw a lot of people were actually excited because they were hurting. Like, and I get that, guys. We're all hurting here, right? Our stock is hurting. So anything that seems positive or that will fight for us, people want to jump on the bandwagon. But my tweet out was, is Finnman trying to tank the stock? Because when a leader of a community comes out and trashes the executive management of the live publicly traded ticker, that can hurt the stock price, which we're all seeing now with the cease and desist, right? So he didn't help us. He didn't help our stock price. He hurt us. And I think people should take note of that. Now, is there value with Erik Finnman? I absolutely think so. I think he could add value even still. But he's got to learn, like early on in life, you can't do certain things. You have to follow the proper channels. Here he was telling everybody that he couldn't talk about anything. And then all of a sudden he's on a space call talking about everything. So I don't believe him anymore. I can't. If you say one thing and do another, I just can't believe you. Now I want to bring up something else about Vinco Ventures. Like I said, this is a summary call. I'm not going to get into a whole lot, but I want to bring up some things that are important to folks who may be new or thinking about investing in this stock. Susquehanna is our designated market maker. As you guys remember, Niz came out and had made this discovery about Susquehanna. I wasn't aware of it. So I was glad that he tweeted that out, and I was glad that Wall Street Custodian covered it in that video because it was really informational. But if you don't understand how this works, Susquehanna is basically letting everybody buy shares and sell shares. Okay, they're the ones at the cashier handling everything, but they're also notorious for market manipulation. They've been fined not one time, not 5 times, not 10 times. They've been fined several times by the SEC and FINRA for, basically securities malpractice. And if you look at their filings when they've been fined, you look at those notices, they basically don't have to admit that they did anything wrong. They just have to pay, $500,000 or $5 million, which is chump change to these guys. Their company's full of a couple thousand employees, mostly software engineers. That's what I do for a living. These dudes are smart. They write algorithms for a living. They know how to create logic that a human can't keep up with when you're dealing with numbers on a fast pace. They're owned by Jeff Yass. And by the way, I have nothing against Susquehanna. I have nothing against Jeff Yass. But I do have a beef with the way that they have taken advantage of the system. And who's let them do this? The SEC and FINRA. They have let them basically butcher and murder retail. So look, we have a decent company, right? It's got decent products. I'll go over those in a second. But then we have a system that's making it almost impossible for retail to see price action in the stock, because they're able to manipulate the stock and basically barcode it when they want. They can run it when they want. They can drop it when they want. They can pull out shares that don't exist. And we all know how that works through the dark pools, through short exempts and synthetics and so on and so forth. I'm not going to get into that kind of stuff on this call. But basically what I'm trying to say is there needs to be regulation. Yeah, I'm preaching to the choir here. Everybody knows that. But there needs to be a way for us to combat this. And that's what this call is kind of about. This video is about. I want to tell you guys, we can do something about this. They are also the competitor to Lomo. They're the main investors in TikTok ByteDance. And if you didn't know this, he basically made huge donations to the GOP because they're one of the groups trying to ban TikTok. Thankfully, it's a bipartisan issue. Both parties seem to want to ban TikTok, not just one. But if anyone was trying to stop the ban of TikTok, it would be a company like this that's heavily invested. So they're going to donate to the political parties to try and get an inside. Just food for thought here. SIG's here in Pennsylvania. Vinco Ventures has offices right there in the same valley. I know from having worked in different offices and in different communities and metros, it's a small world, especially when you're talking to folks within your industry. And I'm not pointing any fingers, but I think it's interesting that these guys are in the same village, so to speak. Because when you're into making a company go public, and you're a company that is a market maker and in an institution or hedge fund or whatever you're doing that's dealing with securities, a lot of these people talk to each other. They know each other. So just something to be considering as you do your due diligence and start to piece together who's who. And for example, this is just one example I looked at a while back. And I didn't share this on Twitter because it was just speculation. I don't like to share things that aren't really facts. But the fact of the matter is when Seth Williams was running for district attorney, he created this Friends of Seth Williams campaign to raise money, right? Seth Williams happens to be the same guy that won. He's the first African American. Kudos to him for winning that race. He won it fair and square. But he was also charged 28 charges of bribery and extortion later on. And after there was a Porngate drama there in Philly. So this guy won the race. He's the head of all the DAs there, right? And who's on our board, on our legal counsel? Philip McFillan. It's interesting. Just a link. It doesn't mean anything. But Philip and his wife happened to donate to Friends of Seth Williams. So you're an attorney working in the same town as this guy who ended up going to jail, and you're friends with him. I mean, I would say both literally and figuratively. You're sitting at the same dinner tables at these. If you guys ever, you go to these donation events, these fundraising events, they're all sitting at the same tables, talking to each other, hobnobbing with each other. I've been to those before. I've helped people raise money before. And also, who else donated to Friends of Seth Williams? Yeah, Jeff Yass through Susquehanna. It's just kind of interesting. So these kind of connections, and Philip's gone now. He's out of the Vinco thing. But guess where he's at? He's at Cryptyde now. Last I looked, he was at Cryptyde. So just bear that in mind, okay? I don't know who's dirty. I don't know who's clean. But oftentimes, if you're hanging around someone that's dirty, there might be an inclination to be tempted. So you got to be careful. Now, being the chief, being the designated market maker, it doesn't matter what we do as retail. I've seen this. I've been investing for, 20 plus years. It doesn't matter what we do volume-wise. If the institutions and the market makers don't want to let it run, they won't let it run. Now, I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but the mistakes have already been made with GME and AMC. They're not going to let them happen again. They lost control there when retail learned how to make that squeeze. I'm not saying there won't be squeezes. Absolutely, there's potential for squeezes, but they will want to make money off those as well. Okay, when they happen, they're going to make money on the up and on the down. And if they want to hold the price, they will. They'll use the barcoding algorithms. If they don't have enough shares, they'll borrow shares. If there's not enough shares to borrow, they will make them up through synthetics. And they have the time frame with FTDs, and also they can say they're short. They can use short exempts. It's all a crap shot. And so they can get away with murder, basically. But if you go to Walmart and you buy something, you're expected to buy it and you check out and you're done, right? That's not how it works with the stock market. You buy a share, that share may not go to price action discovery, or it may not move the price, okay? Because they can send that share off to institutions through the dark pool, which won't let the price move. And I don't want to preach to the choir here for a lot of you guys. You're like, why are you telling me this? I already know it. But there's a lot of folks who don't know this. And there's another caveat here. When people are buying, like let's say you're buying a share on the NASDAQ or ARC or whatever, and that's the lit exchange, that still doesn't matter because they can barcode. So please, buy on the lit market as much as you can. That's better than not. It makes it harder for them, but they can do what they want. And you just have to be cognizant of that. So just another thing here, we know the recent activity of insiders. McFillin was out, right? And we already know these guys had already left the company. Of course, they're going to cash out. Okay. Those are purchases and sales. Okay. So there's still some people holding potentially. Okay. Going to continue just with who's who, right? So Eric Noble, he's a newbie, guys. I mean, give him a break. That's what I'd say. He's been 8 months at Vinco. I do find it interesting that what he's put in his LinkedIn, he's a secretary of the board of directors. That tells me he has communication with them, okay? He's also chief of staff. This guy was at NASA. I think he's a good egg. That's my opinion. You can make yours. But people will trash everybody, I've noticed. Like, no one's giving anyone the benefit of the doubt. And I get it. When you're hurting, you want to be mad at everybody. You want to blame somebody. There's also a couple people here at Vinco who kind of run the Honey Badger side. Honey Badger's like influencer marketing, digital stuff. Just want you to be aware of those. They're in Florida. Then we got this chief sales officer who people don't talk about much, but he's there. He's an executive over there. He's been there for 5 years. If someone's going to know something, I would say this guy would. He's been there for a long time. And we don't really hear about him much, but he's still got this on his LinkedIn. So he's not on the board right now, but this guy still shows that this is some occupation presently. He hasn't updated his title. It's just worth looking into is all I'm saying. Okay. Okay, Ted, we all know about ZVV Media Partners. Just wanted to show you what the recent Nevada says here. It says it's converted out. That just means it's changing to a new type of entity, but we ought to keep tabs on that so we're aware of it, okay? This was January 24th, 2021, so it's not up to date. Zash side, Ted, don't forget Jaeson Ma, right? Jaeson Ma was instrumental with Vincent Butta, right? They were the guys that came in to buy Lomo, right? So just food for thought. But there's 23 Zash folks up there, at least on LinkedIn, up in New York. Okay, what does Zash do? They suck us dry. That's my opinion. I don't know. I'm hoping Zash is actually generating revenue and producing a product, but man, I just don't see a lot on that side, and I'd like to know more. Now Lomo, I consider this one of our awesome potential products that could really make us some money. And it has a potential to compete if they'll add a few features to the platform. Not to sound negative, but we spent $120 million on this sucker. That's just outrageous to me. I could have built this thing for under $1 million easily within 6 months to a year with just a few high-end engineers. This is what I do for a living. I build software for a living. And so for us to spend this kind of money is like, wow, that's a lot of money. Vinco owns 80%. Lomo's based in Singapore. That's because that's where a lot of the engineers are. But Vincent is a key person here. Paul Yang, key person here. And he's still on the board over at Lomo. And Vincent was also a Zash guy, okay? And he had experience at Triller, which is really, it's a competitor too. So just a quick overview there. But I don't want to or devalue the fact that there's a huge team over here that's working really hard on this product. There are real people trying to make this product work and go. I'm sure a lot of them are sitting on the sidelines trying to figure out what's going on because there's so much negativity. But I think they need our support, frankly. I really do. Same thing with these guys, AdRiser. This team, I've looked into some of these a little bit. We own AdRiser 100%, and this is a money machine. This is where we're able to manage the ads on the platform like Lomo. Not just Lomo, but it could be on other platforms where we're making money. Okay, and we produce a lot of video content, a lot of ads, like millions, hundreds of millions of ads impressions we've been able to produce with this. But I want to remind you guys, these are real people. They're working hard. When they see our community become negative and down and just divided and ripping on each other, I think it's hard for them too. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't be critical. I'm not saying we shouldn't look for facts. I'm not saying we shouldn't call people out. But I also think that there's a place to remember that we have an investment that we want to do well with. So if we're positive and trying to support the folks who are working for us, it can only help. That's all I'm trying to say. So I'm not here to tell you what to do. You guys are grown adults. You have your own investments. And if you need to get out of the investment, go ahead. This is not financial advice. But I wanted to give you a perspective, another opinion, because Twitter, I can't say all this on Twitter. I can only throw 160 characters or whatever it is. But this AdRiser, it's one of our gems. Lomo and AdRiser are two of our gems. 60 employees, we own 100% of it. And there's not any obvious like Ted Zash connections here. It looks like it's pretty clean. Okay. We paid $38 million for it. We own it. Let's move on. Okay. Magnify you. So I know when somebody is a founder of a company, I know I'm a founder of a company. It's my baby and I'm passionate about it. You don't found something that you're not passionate about. If you do, it's really odd, okay? But if you look at the team at Magnify You, there's a lot of people producing content over there. And they're actually, I think they're doing a great thing. Lisa is the founder of Magnify You, okay? She's been there 2.5 years. Now, I'm not trying to give anyone an out or get you guys to turn on me because you're welcome to disagree with me, okay? But think about it. Have you ever joined an organization or have you ever gotten into a club or you gotten into a group of people where you became a third wheel and it was extremely difficult for you to convince the other people of your opinion and they even sometimes gang up on you? But what if they hold the cards? Like what if they're funding you? What if you're Lisa and there's another entity funding you and you start to see some malfeasance or corruption? You try to call it out, and they chuck you under the bus. But you want to keep your baby because you founded it, right? It's really tough. And you can fight and fight and fight, and sometimes you can't win. I'm just saying, try to give people the benefit of the doubt. She could be associated with Ted because, yeah, there was a relationship there. But I've been associated with bad people, and I wasn't a bad guy. I'm just telling you, that can happen. She could be a good egg, okay? I know she's got a good product and she's got a good team, and that says something. The culture over here seems to be good on the surface. And remember, if you look at the timeline, how she was bounced around, it's kind of interesting. So it's food for thought. I could be wrong. If I am, I'll admit it, okay? Their president is this guy. He's open to work. I thought that was odd. And he was at Zash. So he has a tie. It's just interesting. So just a little bit of research there. Okay, then we've got these other products. Immersive. It's this dropping the NFTs, getting these pop artists, and that kind of stuff. Okay, we own it. I haven't heard much about it, but it is out there, and they are getting some good brands. Okay, that's Immersive. That's the team. They're in Vegas. Okay, for you Vegas people, if you want to try and poke around and find out more about that. Then we've got PZAJ. Again, this is another good product that we have. Two people I could find information about. Wholly owned. The deal was with 101 Studios, the Vinco 101 Studios deal, to produce Yellowstone, which is a big deal. There's some celebrities in that. That gives us some credentials, okay? Then we've got this. Remember this little slide down here, lower right? Our brands. This was on that slide deck, right? Well, this is out of date. So if the Vinco folks are hearing this call by chance, I'm going to help you guys clean this up, okay? Edison Nation's a big part of all this stuff down here. This guy, Kevin Ferguson, he's the guy of Edison Nation. Edison Nation's basically inventors. Find inventors, help them launch their product, okay? Kevin Ferguson is also the one over Ferguson Containers. If you go on this website, you see all the stuff about SRM Idea Lab, CloudBee, these different companies. I'm going to quickly go through these because I don't want to spend a lot of time. So here's Edison Nation. If you go to their Facebook page, it says it's closing down, but there is some legacy stuff going on with it, okay? So that needs to be cleaned up if people are going to have confidence in it. There's the press release stuff. They're affiliated with these three companies down here, SRM Idea Lab and CloudBee. Okay, there's Ferguson Containers. This is what their website looks like. It looks like an active site. It's still running. Kevin Ferguson's still the president over there. On that site, it talks about these other 3 sites like I talked about. Okay, SRM Idea Lab, they produce these little collectible products. Not the coolest looking website, honestly. Someone needs to update that. But Rich Miller's the CEO over there out of Florida. Okay. Cloud B, this site actually looks really good, legitimate. They're selling some products that help kids sleep at night and all that kind of stuff. I found this person who's an advisory board member, Aldra DePadova Wilford, who's a co-founder, and just Tracy, she's just some project manager. I'm not sure what, but there wasn't a lot of people out there. They're basically out of California, but they have some of their e-commerce logistics stuff over there in France. So, that's Cloud B. Then we got Best Party Concepts. No, the website's dead. This was the 2 people that were with it previously. They were out of Newton, Pennsylvania, but I consider that was bought out, but we haven't updated our website. So come on, Vinco, let's get the website updated, right? Easy stuff. I can update the website in 5 minutes. We've got Mira Tressa, who's the founder of Parasta. Parasta does these little coloring posters. They were selling on Amazon, but it now forwards to another company. So I think this was a buyout because the Parasta NYC website is down. Okay, so that's got to be scratched off as not an asset. We got 4 Keeps Roses. This guy is an NFT type guy too, Ronnie Morel. He's out of LA. This is a really cool product that he's invented. These are just roses that you can keep as a keepsake. They're not living plants, so you can kind of hold them and make it a decoration or whatever. So that's pretty cool. So he's been there for 4 years, 5 months in LA. Looks like it's a site that's still up and running, and it's one of our brands. Okay. And we got Edison National Medical. The site's down. 403 Forbidden. This lady was the only person I could find about it, so it looks like it's a dead site. Not really an asset anymore. We've got Smarter Specs. Also, website's down. You go to Amazon where we're selling the product, and it just shows that they're no longer available to buy. Okay, so someone needs to clean that up on the Vinco side. We got Global Cleaning Solutions, which is the Purple Mountain Clean. Purple Mountain Clean is a disinfectant type thing. This is one of the websites that also has other websites on it that we're affiliated with. Another one of these Edison Nation websites. So we own 50% of Global Cleaning Solutions. Then there's 9/11 Help Now. It says right here they're trying to get licensing for it, for these little things to get help quickly by pressing a button. But that site's was a terrible site that links to another site, and it's not really like a real company. So let's take it off. It makes investors think that there's something that there's not. Then we got the Supermom, another site that's down. These people look like they were sold out or out of business. It's not one of our assets anymore. Then Everyday Edison, same thing. No website. So if you look at all these companies, this is what's on the website right here, Vinco Ventures website. All these companies that say are our brands, if you look at them all, really, all of these crossed out are not assets. The ones that are checked here on the left, these are our assets. Okay, so that's just a quick rundown of Vinco Ventures, who our management was, who our management is, what we currently own, and my quick opinions on things. Okay, so why am I doing this little video? These are facts mixed in with a little bit of my opinion, but I'm mostly just giving you some facts here. I am holding. If I didn't think we could turn this around, I would sell out and tax harvest. I've tax harvested a couple other positions this year. I'm not afraid to tax harvest. But this thing could go anytime. And here's the kicker. Institutions are buying up. That's the biggest thing. They keep buying. Seems like to me, just having been an investor for a long time, that this is an accumulation phase. Have there been bad actors to push the price down so people could get in cheap? I don't know. Kind of looks that way, but I don't know. I can only make assumptions and share my opinion with you guys. But I think that, I'm sharing with you lots of facts. We can save our investment as a team if we're organized. The Susquehannas and the Citadels of the world and the Wall Street and all the market makers, hedge funds, institutions, they all talk to each other. but they're organized. They know each other's phone numbers and emails. They can pick up the phone and get things done. They can lobby Washington. Retailers, we're all independent, isolated silos all over the place. But if we were truly together, and I'm not saying that we don't talk to each other. We do. We're on Twitter. We do space calls, and we're on LinkedIn and Facebook and all these different places, stock twits and Reddit and so forth. We're on all these places. But we're not organized in a fashion where we could actually lobby Washington. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying we need to lobby right now, but we need to be able to if we needed to. We need to be able to put ourselves in a position where we can actually take action as a unified front. I've even thought to go as far as like creating some kind of a LLC, and those who wanted to put their shares into, one place where everyone has a share of a company, we could actually compete with those guys. But nobody would ever do that. I probably wouldn't even do it. But that's what they do. They put their money where their mouth is all together. So we can do more than just talking and complaining. That's my opinion. I think that we can provide feedback like people have. People put ideas on social media, and it looks like Lomo's taken those ideas, for example. We can put our complaints out there, and they can certainly address them. We can support executive management. We can vote. We can vote them in. We can vote them out. We can't vote anytime we want. I wish we could. I wish it was that easy. We have to wait for the shareholders meetings to do those votes. But we can put a little bit of pressure, and I do see the pressure actually works. But most of all, I think that we can provide a unified front and stay positive and not trash everybody and not jump to conclusions. Maybe put your opinion out there, right? But like to start attacking people without any substance, without any facts, without any real information, just because Finnman does a space call and trashes our CEO. I currently have no reason to put Ross Miller or Gabe Hunterton to throw them under the bus. And I'll tell you one more perspective about this. Someone who is able to become a Secretary of State of a state of the United States, it's not hard to do. And you can say, people are career politicians or what have you, and say they're that's bad or good, whatever. It takes a lot of work. You have to be a leader to pull people in to these campaigns to get people to vote for you. I've done campaign races at the local level, and it's a beast just in a little town, let alone a big city or an entire state. So if someone's able to accomplish that, they've got some guts, man. We got to give them a little credit and give them a little bit of time. Just look at what I just showed you on this slide here. I mean, there's so many things to know about. How long does it take you to come in and know about all your assets? And then also you have to meet all of your management, all your employees, all your partners, all your vendors. It takes a while for a CEO to go in and get a feel for the place and then make a real good plan to try and turn it around, especially when they're appointed. If you want to know more about the appointment, Mello's got a lot of that information. He was there, thankful to him, And I'm actually extremely grateful to, I'm on Twitter most, that's the community I'm with the most, but I'm grateful to the Twitter community, like, Lachlan, Mr. Rick, Lauren, Crispy Cash, Tasha, Coffee, and there's all these people, War Times, there's so many people, Frank, there's so many people that have done stuff to keep morale up, and we need to keep doing that, keep morale up. We got to be excited. If you're going to stay in the stock, you got to keep our morale up, and the whole ape thing is real. I'm a person. I got a family. I got a wife. I got kids. I'm trying to build a retirement for them. But the ape thing is not a bunch of crazies. It's a bunch of intelligent people who are tired of the corruption. And that's why I'm an ape. I'm tired of Wall Street flicking us around like we're ants on the ground, And together we are stronger. I absolutely believe that. So, let's just support each other. That's my 2 cents, okay? How we respect each other's will decide as well what institutions invest in us. Institutions are people. There's people like your age and my age trying to see, hey, should I buy this stock or not? The meme thing can be a liability. I love the meme thing. I love, I love all the pictures and the fun, the jokes, and I don't think we should stop that. I think it's great. Continue it. But it also can be a liability, as we've seen in the news. Some of the news people don't take us seriously. They need to see more of the personal side. Lauren put out a post today about what is your why? And I was like, seeing all these pictures of real people and real families, and I'm like, they need to know that we're sophisticated, intelligent, educated people, that we're not just apes. And now I don't mean to say that apes are bad, but you get what I'm saying. We are apes, yes, but we're intelligent people. And we'll get some credibility if we're thinking about both sides, okay? This is not a pump and dump stock. I've been in the OTC place where you get pumped and dumped. This is on the NASDAQ. That's different. The ones that I've lost all my money on have been OTC plays. I've never lost all my money on a NASDAQ. I'm not saying that you can't. But this is on the NASDAQ for one. And there's real products with real teams, with real tech. Look at that team of AdRiser. Look at the team of Lomo. Look at the Magnify U team. These are real people who are working hard, getting paid. We need to back them. We need to back them. And they will back us 100%. So this is not a company of a shell of nothing. I did find there are some nothings in there. We need to get them out of there. We need to clean that up. And that'll help our CPA and our chief financial officer figure things out too. I'm sure they're coming in trying to do the books going, what the heck? There's like 30 entities and all these different things to try and audit. So we got to give them a little bit of a break. There's a time frame for a reason. So the news folks, Wall Street would have people believe that we're idiots because they have been stealing money from us, and they'll keep doing it. This is recently published, AMC insiders got rich off retail traders. We need to make sure there are not insiders within Vinco trying to get rich off of us. And I know we need to keep cleaning house. Okay, we need to find all the bad and get them out. But let's do it in the right way. We can't do anything right this second, right? Except support. And I think supporting will go a long way. I talked about us getting organized. Well, we can't do what they do with backroom deals, but we can certainly be organized and talk to each other and do the legal stuff, right? And so that's it, guys. That's the end of my video. I'm glad to know you all. And what I have done is built a little website. Wartime and I had been talking about building a website a while ago. He put one out, and it didn't quite receive the same reaction that I thought it would. It was really good and informational. What I've decided to do is make a different website, this BBIGfamily.com, so that we can organize. I'm doing this all on my own, but anyone who wants to join me on this, please do. I'm not trying to get any credit or notoriety. I could care less. I just want to see this investment turned around. And I think if we organize and we become a real community where we can actually do petitions together and put all of our signatures on them, or if we need to take legal action, we can do that together, not all spread out all over the different social media networks. That's what I'm trying to say by organize. If we actually know each other's phone numbers and emails within an encrypted, non-shared environment, whoever wants to do that, join the website. And when you join the website, I'm not going to share any of that with anybody. I'm not going to even look at it myself unless you specifically say that you'd like to be in touch. But I will be sending out texts and emails to those who want to receive them. Like if we decide to organize a protest, or we decide to write Vinco or Zash all together with our signatures on it, or if we decide to take some legal action, we can do it together. And we're not left, waiting for some class action or bankruptcy. And I frankly don't think that's going to happen. I think we can turn it around. But this is kind of a call to arms. Like, hey, things are not where they should be. If I was on the outside right now looking in and I didn't know anything about BBIG, I'd look at the technical analysis. I'd be like, wow, this is like a lot of the other stocks in a bear market right now. This might be a really cheap buy right now to get in. And then if you looked at the assets and saw AdRiser and Lomo, you'd be like, wow, that's great. But then if you looked at executive management in the court, I'd be like, I'll wait. That's the only problem we have, is that we're late on our filings and our management. So 2/3 of what we got, I think, solid. So that's it, guys. That's the end of my call. Here's the website. That's me on Twitter. And good luck to all of us.